Nitty gritty, let's get into the draft of Game 2.
TSpirit versus Virtus Pro. Game 2.
Game 1 delivered, guys. Game 1, we were told it's gonna be an Eastern European brawl. They're gonna bring the fire. It's gonna be back and forth, and it was super exciting. It was also a Game 1 of a best-of-3 elimination, and I always think that Game 2, the team that has the most pressure on them, the team that has potential of getting eliminated in this game, normally plays a little bit more safe, a little bit more reserved.
Sure. Spirit cannot get a comfortable in this position, right? I think that's the main thing we're trying to say here. Like, if Spirit want to be able to close this out 2-0 and finally beat Virtus Pro as an organization since, 2015, they're going to need to treat this game as if it's, back to Game 1. And I think that's a lot of teams struggle, especially in competition. You're able to beat these teams in best of ones, right? Or even like best of twos, but the ability to continue converting your concepts and your confidence, knowing that, wait, we're one game away. That's when these better teams, more experienced teams will beat you. But again, both these teams, experience-wise, they're the young guns,
Can they be defeated? They just won versus OG.
Yeah.
They shaved their head. The easy game in all chat.
They did, and they didn't just 2-0 OG, right? Because before that, they already 2-0'd Fnatic. Like they're reaping havoc in this lower bracket after getting knocked down by IG. So I think they want a rematch. They might get that chance if they continue on this track. And of course, it's important for them to, beat Virtus Pro, their fellow Eastern Europeans team. But I also want to point out again that whichever one of these two teams wins has got like some of that glory or potential coming out from former Na'Vi. The last time there was an Eastern European team in the top at a TI was Ti10, where Na'Vi came second. And ever since, it's only been top 6.
It's been always Virtus Pro,
and
they've
always been Virtus Pro.
Top 6, exactly.
And Virtus Pro after Ti9 in shambles. Everything was up in the air, who's going to play where and stuff, and now there is one team needed that will rise out of the dust.
How incredible is it that it wasn't only Virtus Pro that was in shambles, the whole region looked like a mess. And from all that chaos has given birth to these two magnificent teams, these young stars.
Love to see it. Like, that is actually incredible. And we have a draft.
Will we see Nightstalker from Spirit? This is all I'm interested about right now.
Okay.
You think about IO pairing so far. Spirit has put on a masterclass with IO Mars, and they've also run IO Nightstalker before. But the idea of a strong offlane that enables the IO for forward aggression is what I love to see. Not like kind of these farming heroes. I want to see into the enemy jungle, take away some of this farm, take away this kind of map control, and make VP have to react.
You like Nightstalker, I like Slardar if you're looking for a pairing like that. I don't really know if it's as much of Collapse's dynamic. I think whenever they ran that IO Mars...
Nightstalker is definitely more in his avenue.
Right.
I would agree with Tiga as well there, yeah.
The IO Mars, so their carry pairings, I feel like the IO would leave Collapse a lot earlier than most of these off-lane IO pairings. Like an IO Slardar, I feel, stick around for much longer. This one with Collapse, he's just like, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to take it from here.
So something like a Toro, Luna, or whatever really works with an IO could be good here for Team Spirit. They don't have to draft it instantly. Maybe they will. They go with the Tidehunter. Why not?
Boy. There he is.
It's the boy that was left in the pool. He is not the greatest combination with IO.
Yeah.
So maybe they won't even be laning together.
Yeah, that's the main thing here, right? Like, you'd assume in this scenario that it's going to be Tide being paired with maybe some ranged forward position or, support where I then plays elsewhere. But also, the Spirit, they've been very, not creative, but they've been very annoying with their IO pairing. So maybe this is just like the super unkillable Tide in the off lane. He's just going to be farming, skipping towers, really just taking over that jungle. And it's like a new form of Tidehunter. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to bring that out.
A hero that Secret would pick versus the other Titan would be Enchantress. Now, is it the best pairing with an IO as position 4 and 5? Probably not. But versus other Titan is decent. Miposhka has played that hero throughout his career. So maybe it will.
This will be the 8th Tidehunter that Team Spirit play at the International 10.
What
All games wins. 100% win rate.
Wait, 100% win rate.
100%
Very
win rate.
good. Like the way that they play, even look at that previous game, kind of the mannerisms that they had, it was always Collapse parking himself up front, baiting out so many spells. And when VP even went on the aggressive and they caught him in their own jungle, it took like 20, 25 seconds to even kill him. Like it is very much, I think, a Collapse specialty alongside, his Mars and before. And of course, Tide is very much a tournament favorite right now.
So you talk about Tide rates. What's their IO pairings typically, Shiver?
All right.
We talked about the Luna. I think they've done Monkey King as well in the past, which again somehow slips by first and so far second phase bans.
They banned the Luna themselves, actually.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little bit... You can understand it. You're picking a Tide Hunter. When it comes to the pairings that are good versus him on that safe lane, Luna comes to your mind.
Sure.
Another hero that you might want to ban out, but it's not truly Virtus.pro's style, is a Doom. Like that's a hero that you usually ban out if you're worried that your Tide Hunter will be countered.
I will say that the IO for TSpirit has been played by both Mira and Miposhka. They switched it up a little bit. They played it a lot in combination with Mars when Mira plays it, of course. And actually, it's only played in combination with Mars when Mira plays it. And the time that Miposhka played it, that was twice. Once it was with an Ursa, and once it was with a Sven.
Yeah, so it was the carry pairings that I'm particularly interested in. I'm glad that they don't play Gyro, because that fell off the face of the cliff in the group
Now that's
stage.
had
That's pretty bad.
what, 13% win rate?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was abysmal.
But the key reason why you don't see, I think, carries thriving with the IO pairing right now is because, like, look at VP's heroes, for example, right? This casual Bane into IO, you have an IO, so you're not going to have this innate save other than maybe Relocate, but your rest of your team should be able to stun him up. So this value of grip, when you're trying to push this one core into the middle of the fight, this casual 5 Bane, he's going to throw a grip on that hero, lock him down, and as long as you cancel the Relocate, naturally you're not having additional saves, right, in your lineup. Because like IO plus SD is not really a thing, right? IO, Oracle, not a thing. So it is very much Virtus.pro's way of dealing with IO is going to be, if you come into our territory with ET defending these high grounds, we're going to sleep you, we're going to grip that big core you're trying to fight, and you're going to kill him
Storm right here?
Probably.
No, it's an Ursa.
Yeah.
Okay, a different hero that can deal with the Tide Hunter. Why I asked is it the Storm? It's because all the spirits are still left in the pool.
Yep.
And during the group stages, Storm looked like the strongest spirit. Right now, I think Ember might have taken the throne.
Oh, yeah.
Still, though, having the Storm Spirit versus IO always feels nice, and it is a GPK special.
T, do you mind looking up stat for me real quick?
Hit me.
Can you give me GPK's competitive win rate on Storm Spirit?
Look,
I would
don't
love
go,
to.
but
On it, boss. On it, on it.
EG.
No, I want
stint,
all
okay?
time.
No,
Give me the
we're
all-time
including that.
numbers.
We need to include the EG stint. That was the best stint for
All right,
Storm
I
Spirit.
take my special back.
Go.
It was definitely very special during that
was
tournament.
special, all right.
In not the greatest way, but
Oh,
after
I got
that,
it.
it
What
looked
you got
good.
for me?
35 games
Ooh.
and a meaty 42.86%.
Yo,
win
he
rate.
brought it up then.
He
That
did.
means before this tournament started, he was like 35%.
It
right?
was really low.
But you compare that to his Ember, 68%, his Invoker, 72%, his TA, 68%. Like, very much Storm is at
There
the
was just
bottom of
something
his
about
heroes.
that tournament that totally didn't work for him on Storm. I think that tournament on its own ruined that guy's stats on Storm forever.
You see his TSpirit, they pick up the Shaman, so most likely this IO is going to be playing in that safe lane with the carry, and then it's going to be a Tide Shaman parent. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up the generic Toronto Tokyo hero here to give that best IO pairing available at the very end, unless they already have something in mind.
And you're already setting yourself up for any of the spirits on the side of Virtus.pro. If you remember Singapore Major, if you remember after that the Annie Major, if there's a spirit, you pick up that Shadow Shaman to hex him, shackle him, and to control him. This is the hero that probably brings the most control after Lion in the game.
And previously, we were mentioning the idea of like IO plus carry and how it's not been that great in regards to, say, the Gyrocopter kind of fell off a little bit. I love the idea of picking a mid laner that you can play with, right? So he'll play the side lane, enable the carry. As soon as that laning phase collapses, he's going to jump into the Leshrac kind of situation, play behind the Tide and the Shaman, and it's going to be this kind of annoying 4 playing with a hard carry. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit just fully all in on some like late game hero, because this 4 combo that they have, if they
It's
have
active,
an item
right?
each,
It's very active.
very active.
This is actually going to be the first Leshrac that TSpirit will play
Ooh.
at the International 10. That is
The Viper.
Well,
massive to pull out. The Viper coming out for Virtus.pro.
That's not a spirit.
That
What
is
is
not
that,
a
Tsunami?
spirit.
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's their offlaner, actually. So I'm wondering if this is...
Yeah.
gonna be picked mainly because they want to break for Tidehunter, because otherwise I see minimal incentives for this. Yeah, he is a little bit tankier versus magic damage, so you see a core Leshrac, you come out, you're like, okay, fine. I've got corrosive skin on Viper, life's good. Maybe I'll be able to tank a bit more than most offlaners.
You might have been concerned about something like a Spectre, but I don't think so.
I think this is just going to... It feels like the mid... Oh, of course, they can flex it to the very end. Again, you know, Virtus Pro, they will have the ultimate last pick in this draft. But I feel like this is just the casual mid-Viper that's going to be able to lane into the Leshrac, has equal amount of wave clear. You're not going to care about the Leshrac at all. You buy that early bots, and wherever this kind of 4-man Death Ball of Spirit want to move to hit an objective, that Viper will move on in, park himself there, stop that Tide from being tanky, and the whole concept of Spirit's lineup is Tide up front. And of course, Kraken Shell, he is broken by the Nether Toxin of Viper, so you aren't tanky at all. So it's very much a casual Viper to remove that tanky. Now Spirit going to need that carry to fill that void.
I like that idea a lot, especially if you consider that Tidehunter might have a little bit of a difficult lane if you don't play it correctly, as you are playing into an Ursa. It can get hairy. But I'm not the greatest fan of GPK playing an elimination match on a Viper.
Agreed.
I think like you're tying his hands a little bit. At the same time, if that's what they think this team needs, all in for it.
Do you want to know his win rate on Viper?
Sure.
I should have asked that once I had the result.
Okay, fine. Great setup.
We'll wait for it.
This is
Phil, Tsunami, Phil.
right. It's shades of how I felt with T1 picking DK for Carl. It seems that when it's in elimination time, you're like, I don't know, man. I won't lose on Viper. I won't lose on DK.
Yeah,
Just
you
give
go
me
for the
that.
safe. You
Right.
go for the safe play, and that is, as we've said many times before on this panel, sometimes in a game, you have to not play to not lose, but you have to play to win. And
Right.
Viper feels like a hero to play to not lose, and generally that is not actually a strat that works.
Yeah.
But I think as well with Viper is the fact that the itemization on the hero has shifted a lot. You're not really this kind of magic damage style hero. You are going for Dragonlance, BKB, Skadi. You're becoming a core in your own right. And when you have heroes like Ursa who get naturally kited, this Viper will be able to kind of prop himself up into the fight, sort out kind of where people are to enable Ursa with his blink or whatever to find the hero he wants to kill. And unfortunately, my internet has died, so therefore I cannot give you.
Just give me a number. What do you say? You think it's above 50 or below 50?
Above 50%.
Oh yeah, of course. The GPK is a beast on Viper. It's the kid's signature.
If you're playing
that's great. That's a
Viper,
really cool stat.
if you're playing Viper, if you're a Viper player and you have below 50% win rate, I feel bad for you.
I mean, if you're an anything player and you have a below 50% win rate on your anything, I think that's a bad luck.
Yeah, but Viper it's a special hero.
Hero plays itself.
I am below 50% win rate.
Well,
But you're a
not.
Tide-
Tidehunter
10K.
specialist, not a Viper
Bad.
specialist.
All right.
What's the pairing for this IO with the carry? Are they just content giving the Leshrac as the only thing that IO needs to worry about sticking to?
They
I'm
did ban
very
out the
happy
gyro.
that the VP bans out the gyro, actually.
Oh yeah, same here. Even though I think it's a wasted ban, because that would have been perfectly okay if I was VP and Spirit
Yes,
picked it.
absolutely.
'Cause
I
that-
think it saves Spirit a little bit.
Yep.
I'm also
I got
hoping
it.
that this Viper will be on the offlane. There goes Terrorblade.
68% Shiva, sorry.
68%
This
win
was-
rate on Viper for GPK.
Yep, there it is.
Very cool.
Sorry, I just had to get that out there for no
That's
reason.
okay.
And there's a Terrorblade, yeah. So the idea, what we mentioned earlier, about the fact of the Tidehunter Lesh, the IO playing with Lesh, you want to unlock that space on the map for a core to farm behind you. Terrorblade will thrive in this, and it does put VP in that awkward position of when can we actually win the game. They pick up a Pangolier, again, very, very good at dealing with these early kind of tower objective hitting lineups, because you just have the Rolling Thunder. You will be that cushion for the Viper to get the spells off behind you. And it allows you to at least deal with Terrorblade to some degree, but this is a pretty good Terrorblade game.
It's a pretty good Terrorblade game, but Virtus Pro do have that upper hand in the early to mid game, and if they are able to capitalize on that and collapse all over Team Spirit, I believe they can pressure the TB hard enough to take that safe lane tower, that mid lane, and keep pressure on the triangle. It will be difficult though.
You guys keep using the name as a verb. You gotta stop saying collapse. You keep confusing me. He's going to collapse. And they are going to collapse. This is a terrifying push lineup. You've got Metamorphosis Terrorblade. You've got the Shaman Serpent Wards. You've got Diabolic Edict on Leshrac. This is fast, and I don't know if VP are going to be able to draw them off their.
So you actually like Team Spirit's aggression?
I like Spirit's
early.
aggression.
I'm gonna go the opposite way.
Okay.
Let's get some change it. I'm going VP, I think, a little bit. I think they've got just enough in the tank to deal with the early fight, and I don't think there'll be enough room for TB to farm if VP are decisive with kill a hero, invade the jungle. If they kind of hit these rhythms, I think they should be in an okay spot.
All right, so basically all we want is for VP to be the one to set the tempo this game if they want to come out ahead. But they've got a good setup for them.
Last game I said that GPK has a huge burden. I believe it's Toronto Tokyo this time around to carry it out.
All right, well, we are going to witness it. It should be an exciting series, exciting game rather, regardless of who will take it. But we will find out who will take it together with Odie Pixel and Insania.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, game 2 coming up now between VP and Spirit. I'm Odie Pixel with my main man, Insania. Insania, what are you excited to see? I'm seeing a Viper. We're not a hero we get to see a lot, but it is one of GPK's hottest back in the day. This was a hero you would never let the man have.
No, absolutely. And I think this is their idea to deal with the Tidehunter. I think if they probably felt like the Tidehunter was problematic for a certain part of the game, and they couldn't fight into him, and now they're trying to solve it with the Viper. But I feel like generally when you do this, you want to have some sort of stun to keep him inside of the Nether Toxin. And when I look at their draft, I don't really see a lot of it. There's a Stomp from ET, there's a roll through from Pango, and then there's Fiend's Grip from Bane. So I think that's going to be a challenge for them, at least in the early game.
And sort of overall, looking at the carries, you feel Terrorblade, good game for it?
I mean, it's a great game for TB. The only fear for him really is that Elder Titan. But I saw this earlier actually in the tournament where VP played his Bane against ET, and it was Save playing it that time as well. And he kept finding it. He kept being able to click that Fiend's Grip on top of the TB. And that was also against the Tidehunter, I want to say. So it's a pretty similar situation. So I think VP probably think this Bane is quite strong into this specific matchup, even though I would imagine TB has the edge.
Oh, he's definitely seen some fantastic Bane plays. I mean, Save in himself has had some excellent games, turning fights around and starting them off. You know, one of the more aggressive supports it seemed here on the main stage. He's always ready to just jump headfirst into 5. We're going to see quite a clash here, but it looks like at least the attempts of some both teams. It's really eyeing each other up around this fight, around the early vision control on this mid. Now they're back off here for the bounty runes. And we'll see what sort of lane matchups we got. Of course, last game, we did see some early mix-ups in the lanes for both teams trying to find that favorable start.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Eastern Europe, laning phase is really, really important to all 10 of these players in this lobby. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of mix-up again, but I think the standard lanes should be expected here. It's most likely going to be the Pangolier together with the Bane going up against the Wisp and the Terrorblade on the safe lane.
And how well does the IO and the Terrorblade deal with that pressure?
I mean, I think generally speaking, when you play Wisp, you want to play against lanes that are trying to harass you out of the lane, and that does fit like Pango's concept. Pango's very rarely a hero that tries to kill you from full to nothing, so I think they should manage to do fine. However, the Bane is like the X factor here, because Save trades extremely well into both these two heroes, so when the meta's down, I think they might have a hard time getting all of the CS, but how you manipulate that with the pull and stuff is going to be interesting to see.
We'll see how much Yutora can find out early on in the lane. Looking at the other lanes, the mid lane matchup, Viper, Lesh, early levels, how does this look?
I think it's a pretty rough lane for the Leshrac. He's going to have to use a lot of mana, as you're seeing, to just try to secure some CS, but he saved up gold for his bottle, so he's going to try to play that regen game where he's just using mana to get a lot of creeps, trying to get as much as possible out of the lane, and then have the water runes refill it. And if somebody happens to die in the top lane, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Mira TP mid and refill that bottle, or see Miposhka do the same thing. So that bottle's going to be crucial for Toronto Tokyo.
I mean, are we going to get someone dying first? What in that top lane is that where you sort of see the most brawling in this early laning stage?
I mean, here in the top lane, you have Elder Titan and Ursa. This is more of like a kill setup. So I think once they hit level 3, that's a pretty big power spike for the Elder Titan. I'm sure Fog has talked a ton about this hero.
Oh, he loves it.
But level 3, that's really when you start trucking in damage. And then Ursa's online too, right? You have both the slow, you have the Fury Swipe. So a lot of tools to get kills up here once the levels come online.
So far, on the early CS, nobody falling too far behind really. DM just having to slow out the starts, but we saw the same thing really happen last game.
Yeah, and Toronto Tokyo got the bottle. He's just bottling up. You notice he's doing very, very even with the Viper, and this is just a result of getting that bottle so early. Rune control is going to be really important too, I think. This bottle, for me, is like so crucial, because if the Viper is able to dumpster this mid lane, that's going to lead to GPK having a huge timing in this game and VP able to control the pace, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see supports helping out with the 4-minute runes and the 6-minute runes.
And what sort of is the aim here for GPK's Viper this game? Is he going to build to control? Are we getting an Atos, or is he going to tank up so we can join these early fights and enable the Ursa?
So I think traditionally the way GPK likes to play Viper is he goes Boots of Travel, and then he kind of decides where he goes with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Atos, because like we said, I think this is an answer to the Tidehunter. They want to use that Nether Toxin to shut the Tidehunter down, and they don't really have the lockdown to keep him in the Nether Toxin, so the Atos is probably going to be nice. Later into the game, you're going to have Ursa build a Basher, and then, you know, they'll have the lockdown as the game progresses and they hit item timings.
And talking about the Ursa for Nightfall, this game, how do the timings sort of pair up in the way that VP are going to want to play the game around their Ursa carry, and Spirit are going to want to around their Terrorblade?
I'm expecting Nightfall to, you know, Roshan's going to be obviously like a point of contention, and if the Ursa can get that Aegis early on, some sort of diffusal build, phase boots, you know, playing fast, I wouldn't expect some sort of Battle Fury, but it is possible. But I think they have enough AoE from the Pangolier and the Viper, so I think for VP you're looking at trying to hit that Atos on Viper, you want to get the diffusal on Ursa, and then you want to just go.
Sure. I mean, because this Pango, DM, he's going to be quite the nightmare in the fights when he gets that Rolling Thunder off, right? Nothing to stop him at all once he's in the ult.
Yeah, absolutely, as they're applying pressure to Yatoro, but, you know, Wisp uses the healing salve, gets him back up to full HP. But yeah, like you said, once he starts rolling up, you know, it's hard for you to play Shadow Shaman, because you need to stand in place and try to grip someone, or Tidehunter generally wants to use Ravage to blow everything away from him, but once Pango's in that role, you're not really touching him, so it's a really, really good Pango game. He doesn't need to be afraid of Leshrac. All he really needs to make sure that he does is get on top of the Terrorblade.
Oh, we're going to see straight up TP for Toronto Tokyo. Will reset back in the base.
Yeah,
absolutely necessary there with the setup that was made by Save.
And this is what we were talking about, right? The rune control. It's really important to make sure that this Leshrac can abuse the bottle to just keep getting creep kills. Because right now he's sitting at 20 CS.
He's doing great, right?
Yeah, even with a Viper.
Not an easy lane, but Toronto Tokyo trading farm quite nicely.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Up top, you see, so one of the interesting things about running Tidehunter against ET is you get this minus armor from the Gush and the Slow, which allows you to fight back when he runs in with the Spirit. And you can look at Mira's skill build as well. He has 2 points leveled up in his Ether Shock. They're looking to just fight the Elder Titan when he runs in, so it's a tough lane for ET, but the nice thing about it is that you take a lot of attention, and that allows Nightfall to get a lot of creeps. So even though you don't have a great lane as ET nowadays, you almost always will take enough attention to let your carry get a lot of farm.
Well, it's certainly been the case here. Only a few CS right now between the farm and Nightfall, and of course Yatoro there on the opposite side of things down bottom. So it certainly seems that, you know, having the presence of the IO has been enough for Yatoro to be able to survive through most of the aggression. We're going to see a bit of an attempt onto Yatoro down here, but quickly with the tether, Maposhka giving him the ability to turn things around. Safe will pop the Fairy Fire. Are they going to have quite enough to take down the Bane? They won't. Save's able to get out of reach of the Terrorblade. DM a little short there on the swashbuckle. That's going to cost him his life. Opts to sort of stay close rather than go for the full distance on the swashbuckle, and Yatoro, of course, with a point and out reflection, he's immediately able to punish that.
Yeah, great play from from TeamSpirit there. And a bottle just came out on the courier for Pangolier, but smart enough, drops it off onto Save. So Save now has an empty bottle that'll get refilled from Pango. So all in all, they still get both heroes back to full HP. They were so low that they would probably have to go back to base otherwise. So it doesn't hurt too bad, but of course you never want to give a first blood away to Terrorblade.
Now, one thing that so definitely stands out to me this game when you look at both drafts is, you know, VP, whilst they've got the killers and the fighters, they don't really have the tower push right. They're going to have to get a lot of blood spill to actually get the room to push down objectives. Whereas meanwhile on Spirit, they will lose collapse top, but when Spirit group up, towers will just crumble to this Leshrac and Terrorblade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And generally speaking, when you play really long cooldown drafts, you will see teams want to have tower damage, as Yatoro is going to get caught here by the Haste Viper.
See if he's got any way out. There's a lot of damage for GPK. There's no way for Yatoro to run away from this. Maposhka as well will also die. Tries to get the courier on the way out, but he won't have enough damage to do so. Very hard-hitting move there from GPK down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is just the importance of rune control, right? Because the Leshrac got zoned out of the lane early on, he's no longer able to contest these runes, and he's forced to play in the jungle. And when you play in the jungle, you're low on mana, so you can't fight runes. And that gets him a kill on TV, but Toronto Tokyo has finished up Arcane Boots, and he's eyeing up his own move here in the top lane now.
TP up from Maposhka as well. Got the quick refill here on the bottle, and see what they can do about this tower. See if VP are going to put any effort into trying to hold this off.
So this is one of the times when you really want to have tower push in your team, so you can rotate the Ursa down to the bottom lane or some sort of hero down to the bottom lane and apply tower damage. But VP just straight up can't. So this is something that they will suffer to in the game. If they don't feel strong enough to fight back, TSpirit can easily just run over towers.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, they're getting the seal one for sure. 9% up here from VP. They're focusing elsewhere. Save, trying to keep Yatora on edge as he comes deep into the jungle.
He's being so obnoxious. He's just forcing Yatora to run away. He just wishes he could sit here and farm for free, but he's killing off those illusions. This is something I think a lot of people don't do enough of. And this forces Mirror to come down bottom.
Well, they should have a pretty good shot against Save here. He'll try and turn with the Nightmare. Instantly able to take it off with the illusion there, Yatora. There's a couple more hits. He'll find them. So Save finally put to an end. Well, CTM look to go in with the Rolling Thunder, but TSpirit, they're already back underneath the tower. Nothing is going to be found with this Pango ult.
Yeah, the ward here on the high ground, just allowing them to see the Pango rotate over, and he's easily able to dodge it out. Yeah, it seems like GPK decided to go a different route. No Atos, he's going treads into Dragonlance, so looking more at trying to deal some damage in these team fights. I'm not sure if I personally like it the most. I think when you play this Viper as an answer to Tide, you really need to make sure that you can either burst him on the Nether Toxin, and in order to do that, I think you need to have at least one stun. And I just don't think they really have that lockdown. I would have loved to see that Atos.
What sort of advantage does the Dragonlance have from this game? I mean, what does it say to you when he does go for this to start his build?
So I think probably what he's thinking is we need a way to kill the Leshrac. We've seen the Chinese teams run Lina a lot against Lesh as an answer because you have that long range and you buy an early BKB and you just sit that from behind and just keep hitting him. So probably GPK's plan here is to buy the Dragonlance, sit back really far, and try to hit down the Lesh as he tries to charge straight in. So it makes sense, but I think the Tide just might be too big of a problem, but we'll see.
I mean, Collapse last game did have quite the impact. And we'll manage to catch him on his own. He is rather tanky. They should get the job done here as long as Collapse does live. He does still end up eventually going down.
Yeah, and TSpirit immediately on the response, right? Toronto Tokyo runs up the mid lane, pressures that tower. As soon as VP makes a move, he's been in the right place to apply tower damage, and this is really good by them because they keep forcing the VP heroes around.
Another quick grab onto Save.
Yeah, the three-man of TSpirit are doing a great job. The two supports together with Toronto Tokyo just running around applying pressure, and if he gets a rune here, that should lead into a play. Luckily, GPK gets it, so Invis rune. Now this puts the pressure on the Tide again. He's probably pretty scared. They know that there's a bottom rune spawn since Toronto Tokyo didn't get a top. And we'll see if they might try to fight back with the Ravage here. Depending on if Collapse leaves the lane or if he stays here, that should be a pretty clear indicator to whether TSpirit wants to fight or not.
And how strong of a timing is it going to be this game for Nightfall with the Diffusal? Is it as simple as Diffusal's picked up, he can join the fights, or is he going to have to play on and farm for the BKB before he really gets stuck in with the team?
I think most likely with the Diffusal they'll try to take some sort of engagement. It's a strong timing as Tidehunter gets caught now. But you see, they can't stun him on top of the Nether Toxin.
Yeah, he's straight out of the Nether Toxin, and now there's been a chance for the response to come in from Spirit. Toronto Tokyo's been brought in, but the damage is actually too much here. And Spirit, they try and take this fight, but that's going to be one, that's going to be two going down. As maybe just overestimating their capability to get kills with the damage of the Leshrac. We see Lesh just getting destroyed on the front of the action.
I think they need the Ravage to go off, right? Once the Ravage goes off, you're going to see the Leshrac drop a stun, and then GPK can't pump damage into him. If they are able to have GPK stand back and deal damage, then, you know, any hero other than Tide is just going to melt to him. So, for that reason, you know, Dragonlance does actually make a lot of sense to me now when I see it play out. So, up until this Blink Dagger on Tide, if he decides to go for it, it should be a pretty smart item choice, actually, by GPK.
And we're definitely seeing this game in comparison to the first one. VP, they seem a little more active in terms of just making sure that the Collapse, he's just not getting the space that he did in game one, right? This is going to be a much slower beginning for a Tide that had such a long time to ramp his game up in the first match of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really do think like Collapse comes in at a really clutch timing for their team. Up until the time that he gets his blink, you rarely see TSpirit kind of group up. And in game one, you had Yatora playing a more active hero as he's caught here in the top lane.
He is huge. He has got us under if he gets out, but there's nothing to stop the grip here. Mira was trying to find Save. Nightfall, he's already out through the tree line. He's going to be fine. They'll turn for Save. Should get the Bane. And of course, the bigger loss being theirs. Yatora taking down VP at the same time. DM applying pressure on the mid. Toronto, Tokyo not able to find the lead in.
Yeah, just good. I think this is something VP does really well here. They learned, the last game we had kind of roles reversed, where it was TSpirit applying the pressure to VP, and now VP's in the commanding position of, we need to make the moves. We need to be the ones taking space. And we mentioned the heroes don't really have tower damage. DM's right on top of the mid tower. As soon as a play happens somewhere else on the map, he's in the tower space, making sure that he forces reactions and just gets that chip damage that is really important for them.
Top set up from Mira. He's got the grab, the opening. TPs are coming in to try and back up Nightfall. Can they burst Nightfall in time? Nightfall, he's got no ult for 20 seconds. And no chance to survive.
Great setup by Mira. They're going to relocate back out. You see, the positioning that VP has on the map right now, there's one core on every lane. They're just trying to farm up as much as possible and control map space. And this forces a lot of the TSpirit heroes into the triangle here. So they don't really have anywhere to farm. Even though they have heroes that farm faster than the VP heroes, if the game stays static like this, VP is going to be heavily out farming them just because there simply aren't enough camps. And TSpirit recognized that and decided to smoke up right away. Yule's finished on Toronto Tokyo too, so now he can finally make his own initiations. Doesn't need to wait for the Ravage to come out.
I mean, they're making a run straight towards GPK, but GPK is aware.
Yeah, and he has that illusion rune bottled up, so that can be used to disjoint the Leshrac stun out of Yule's if he times it perfectly.
They still want to get something here, Spirit. Kingslayer. He's going to walk into the action, but GPK is around to try and help them fight. A Hex out. Good ward drop as well, though. Mira just lays down the Serpent wards, and GPK, he'll quickly follow after the death of Kingslayer. I mean, I guess they felt that they could get a kill whilst the Elder Time was being focused. I mean, it seemed a little bit of wishful thinking there from GPK on trying to turn that play around.
I mean, Mira's been playing a really sneaky game if you think about it. You expect the Wisp and the Leshrac to play together, and normally when Wisp and Lesh show on one side of the map, you expect the team to be on the opposite because they relocate threat, right? You want to put your stuns on the other side of the map so you can relocate over and get pickoffs, but Mira's next leveling it. He knows that VP is going to assume that, so he's running with the Wisp and the Leshrac, and I don't think GPK expected him to be on that side of the map, simply put.
Oh, absolutely. Not at all, it seems. DM is ready to go. In with the blink. Good setup and a good angle here, catching them close to the stairs. The Sleeper's well allowing for a further bounce back and a third into the splitter. Perfect showing there from DM, jumping in with his blink pickup. And this time it was Spirit that weren't prepared for the moves of VP. Mira as well, also to go down. DM leads the way, and they couldn't have set it up any better there. Nightfall picking up every single one of those kills.
Yeah, and now they're definitely going to be eyeing up Roche. There is a Ravage ready for TSpirit, so they might try to set up the defense in time. I think they're going to have time to TP their heroes if they run straight away, but
that's going to go down
like
quick.
They're moving. Yeah, it's going down really quick.
So the timing, VP playing for. See Nightfall even eyeing up getting the blink first before the BKB after the defusal. Got a huge cash burst after that. Those last 3 kills, of course, and now here we go. Aegis ready to roll. Level 12 as well. VP, we could definitely see them step things up and get even more aggressive now with this timing that they're hit.
Yeah, Pangolier roll up in 20 seconds. This is going to be their cue to try to set up a fight. I think probably going to eye up the middle lane tower. Some sort of smoke wraparound is most likely what's going to happen next. As you see, this is something I think is really interesting, because normally we don't really think of Bane as a hero that farms, right? But VP have done this multiple times where they set him up to farm in a side lane. Stun slightly off the mark. But yeah, they will farm up this Bane. They recognize how strong of an item this Aghanim Scepter is for the Bane. And I was talking to AOI about it as well. Like, we don't really think there's any Ags that changes the hero as fundamentally as the Bane Ags does. It's just impossible to stop that Fiend's Grip when he has the 2 illusions up.
That makes it very hard to play into. Consider the stuns they do have at the ready. I mean, maybe if they get a good Ravage.
Sleep in the top lane. Just burning the Leshrac's mana.
Mid lane. I mean, they found Collapse again. Collapse trying to get a bit of peace here. Will be able to force over the terrain to try and get up to the triangle. Mira locking back Nightfall with the Hex. Collapse. He's looking to turn with the Gush. They're bringing in the backup. Miposhka's brought Toronto Tokyo in with the ult. It's already out for Nightfall. Turns over towards Collapse after Ti10 going down. Miposhka torn apart by the claws of the bear. Nightfall, he's not done yet either. Over to Viper, now towards Yatoro in the stop, allowing VP to set up around. The grip's in, they've caught Yatoro. They may have lost Nightfall the once, but Yatoro, he's dropping low. Stick, Sunder, back up to a decent amount of HP, but Nightfall's back up. Second life from ready to roll. The Hex momentarily holding back the bear, but Kingslayer and the rest of VP just smashed down the Terrorblade.
A beautiful play from VP there. During all of this, the reason that relocate comes in so late is because the Leshrac slept. They can't relocate in the slept Leshrac, so just beautiful map coordination there from VP and communication. You know, Save runs up top, sleeps the Leshrac, they take a fight in the middle lane. Just the understanding of the macro game from VP to play this aggressive is beautiful to watch.
Yeah, excellent usage here at the first Aegis. We'll see it once more how the fight starts. Again, the real big difference between this game and the last one seems, VP much more aggressive and so much attention on Collapse, making sure that Collapse is tied. It's just left completely behind this game.
Yeah, and this was a beautiful usage of the Yules. When I saw this, I was like, oh my god, the Viper might actually go down, but he's able to stand his ground and deal just enough damage for Nightfall to clean up the fight. And he's taking so much attention on GPK that, Nightfall just runs around freely and does whatever he wants.
We see it towards the end. Nice little attempt, but again, sort of just a Bane play from Save, forcing Yatoro to stick around and fight that little bit longer than he can deal with.
Yeah, just a great team fight coming out from VP, and they're continuing to apply pressure here in the bottom lane though. TSpirit have smoked up with Mira and Yatoro, and they're looking for some sort of pickoff, but it doesn't really look like it's going to happen. Nightfall sniffs it out. The next big timing coming up is probably the Ursa BKB. That's when you'll see VP probably try to group up and keep applying the pressure. But a very similar story to last game, right? If VP ever takes their foot off the gas, then the scaling of TeamSpirit is going to be amazing. And once they start finishing up these items that allow them to survive, like the BKB on the Leshrac and the Eye of Skadi on Yatoro, it gets a lot harder.
Bottom lane, DM is in the back of Nightfall as TeamSpirit did try and set up here. Onto the Ursa. See if DM's able to roll his way back out to safety as he is on his own. DM, look at the swashbuckle loss. Stun still hits, and in fact, they're taking them out of there. They don't want to stick around. They know that the rest of VP's making their way over.
Look top though.
Can they catch GPK? He's got the BKB and a TP at the ready. He'll pop it. Not taking any chances here, GPK. He knows that they're all coming over. And VP, they make it away.
Yeah, Save's in trouble. Mira's going to catch him here. There's just so much going on the map. There's like a very intelligent macro game being played. Nightfall stuff.
Mira, he's dead. Nightfall able to clean him up. Again, just picking apart Spirit. Sort of in the same fashion that Spirit were going for them last game. They have really just stepped up the tempo. Now they sort of looked at the first game, said, all right, this is how you want to play. We can do that too.
Yeah, I think their big difference, like in the T1 Vici series, you saw two teams that they would rather the other team come to them. But in this series, it's kind of like the other way around. Whoever decides to make the first move seems to have an advantage.
It just seems so hard for Collapse to have a game. Still very much trying to play the catch-up, but he is far behind on the farm.
Force that fight is just very smart, right? Just gets you straight out of that another toxin. I just don't really feel like this Viper as an answer to Tidehunter seems to be working. There's just too many ways to get him out of the another toxin.
And does that sort of concern you in the sort of the regards to the game going on? Like at the moment, obviously VP, they have a lead, but do you feel that this Viper could become a bit redundant in the later stages if TeamSpirit's able to hold on?
I feel like it explains why he decided to go for this item route at least, and not the route of Atos, because if, let's say he went the Atos, right, Tidehunter would just buy a Force Staff and force himself out of it. So GPK clearly knows something that you and I don't.
Yeah.
And so it's an intelligent item purchase to go for this like Dragonlance BKB build and aim to try to shut down the Leshrac instead of the Tide. They have the Ursa, right? He's going to eventually hopefully buy an Aghanims, and then he can just ignore the Ravage. He gets Ravage, pops his ulti, and he's completely fine.
Yeah, Nightfall certainly on track to hitting great timings this game. See, they've got their eyes down bottom, ready to set up onto Toronto. DM, he's got the lead in, up with the Yules, the bounce back into the Fiend's grip. You see an attempt to take him out there, Miposhka, but he can't get him out in time. Top lane, GPK also starting up some further action for VP. As Mira getting a little too close to the Viper. Should die, tries to hide in the trees, but GPK has got his eyes on them. Mira will fall.
Yeah, and middle lane Collapse has been caught out too. There's just so much going on at once from VP.
It's just falling apart really for Spirit. Godlike on the Ursa. Spirit, and they may only be 5k down, but as I say, it's just a complete mirror of the state of the game we had in the last one about 22 minutes in. This time round, VP just ruling the map, and Spirit getting very little chances to really climb their course back into this. The team fights, they're not going to get any easier, it seems, because VP, they're at a stage now where they can just get in, BKB and Defusal, they can pretty much delete whoever they want to start things off. This Lesh is very vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, you know, you want that BKB finish on Leshrac. He would have wished he was eyeing up Shiva's guard at this point, but it's just not looking like it, as he's been caught once again in the middle lane.
So if they want to dive in, though, they don't quite have the Thunder up from DM.
Radiant's top tower
Yeah,
is under
he's eyeing up
attack.
that shard as well, so he's going for that full stun build, just going to try to roll on top of someone, Yule himself. Once he comes down, you know, you use that shard to turn your roll around, stun them again, and just keep permanently silencing these heroes. Or stunning
solid.
them,
I feel like we see this a lot from VP as well. Sometimes you look at the drafts and you're like, well, there's not enough lockdown, but DM on his Shaker or on something like the Pango when he itemizes like this, you sort of come to the realization that it just doesn't matter because of how much DM can control the fight.
Yeah, and the itemization for it is perfect, right? They're making sure that they're buying the correct items to make up for whatever weaknesses their draft has.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, they know collapse is
Collapse. They're not going to keep looking despite some of the trees being cut.
here. So if you haven't been there with your hero physically, you can't actually see that the trees have been cut sometimes. We can see it as spectators, but the players in the game won't actually see it until they walk straight next to the tree. So they probably don't know that collapse is there. Sneaky play with the Force Staff there, getting him out of trouble.
We'll see if he wants to show himself to clear out a few more waves. Still 10 seconds on the TP, so he's stuck there momentarily. Back in action, Yatoro. 1,000 gold off his Skadi.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge timing for them, and really the next big objective here is Roshan. So he's guaranteed going to spawn in about a minute. The teams obviously don't know this, but you're going to notice that both teams are going to start posing themselves around the Roche pit because they want to have vision control there. And we know around 20 minutes in the last game, it was a very similar story where both teams are willing to fight so long as it's under their vision. And it's the exact same thing here. So whoever can control the vision around the Roche pit has an edge leading into this team fight.
Very similar story again with the carries. But once more, Yatoro, Nightfall just on the exact same page when it comes to farm, both fighting for that top net worth here. Of course, Yatoro more focused on the creep hitting. And Nightfall, he's been punching the heroes. 11 kills so far here on the bear. And for that Basher next.
Yep, saves buying a Force Staff, and I believe so is Kingslayer, so they're recognizing that, you know what, they might need to kite out these cooldowns. Once the meta is popped, will have 2 Force Staffs to pull their heroes back and just wait out these cooldowns if they need to. And the same thing for the Leshrac BKB, right? If they don't feel like they can fight into it, they have the tools to decide, you know what, this fight's not good, we're gonna pull out, they've committed meta, and then refight again in about 60 seconds.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Nice Roshan. It's all theirs.
Fortified.
No doubt about it. Matter of seconds and Nightfall will be able to finish this one. And they're coming out with the smoke from the bottom half of the map, but it's going to be into an Aegis Ursa. So unless they find a real quick pick to start the fight off with, Spirit aren't going to have the best of times fighting into VP.
They need the Pango, and they're going to see him here if Collapse keeps running in. This is the best target for them if they can actually kill
So
him.
slippery though. With the Shard, the Blink, the Yules, the Thunder, there's just so much to play his way out of there. They have to get some sort of instant catch. It's really all on Mirror.
Yeah.
If he's not able to find the opening, DM's going to get out every single time.
And just speaking about that opening, you see Mira is only 250 gold off of a Blink Dagger,
Yeah,
and that will allow him to make that first jump, which is going to be really important for both teams here.
Dire are scanning.
Absolutely, until that's there, they're not going to be able to start off the fights with this Pango dying.
Yeah, GPK is also closing up on finishing Skadi. This will make it very hard for the Leshrac to just keep running in, right? You're going to get slowed down by the Viper during your BKB, and then once your BKB is out, you're absolutely not moving.
Yeah, and he's going to be a beast. Really itemizing up to be the second carry, really, for the team. You know, you're going to have an Ursa in your face. You'll have this Viper off in the distance, just spewing the poison and toxins all over you. It's not a fun fight for whoever starts off on the front from Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely not. I wouldn't want to be a Spirit frontliner playing against these heroes.
I mean, what is the game plan for Spirit now? They must be realizing that every minute they are losing more and more control of the map to VP. Where do you look for the comeback from here for Spirit?
I think it's a similar story to last game, where you need to fight on vision so that you can find the correct targets. The whole purpose of fighting on wards is so you can see the backliners of Virtus Pro and you can catch them before they get their spells off. If they're able to initiate on Viper and he can't BKB and he goes down, that's a huge catch for them. Same thing with the Pangolier, even the Bane, ET, like all these heroes, pretty much anyone except for Ursa is a good initiation for Team Spirit if they can find it. So just look for the wards. Look at the minimap wards, and that's the areas that the teams want to fight in. For VP, you have the top area, and for TeamSpirit, you have the bottom area where they want to fight. And this is something Spirit does a lot. I've noticed they do this in a lot of their games, where when they're behind, they'll take over the enemy triangle and ward up the entrances. And then if the enemy team approaches, they're willing to take that fight.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Still a good few minutes on the Aegis VP.
Yeah, they're looking to hunt now. So now the way that you want to approach this game as VP is you want to try to move around the map and force TeamSpirit to TP away from it, set up vision on lanes, or set up vision on camps where you know the heroes are isolated when they're farming. And then once you have forced the heroes into their base, then you can start forcing them into a team fight. And you see here, Mira's going to TP out, and now VP feel like they've gained control of the bottom side of the map, and immediately they're going to move over the heroes to top. Nightfall TPs into the tier 2 top tower, and now he's going to be on the hunt. He sees the TB on the Ancients. Scandal coming out from TeamSpirit. So this is some very high level plays coming out. Both teams are reading the map very, very well, and they're scouting each other out. And now, if you look at the map again, you see a lot of the TeamSpirit heroes are bottling into the bottom side of the map, and Save is going to be in position to catch them.
Oh, grip as well onto Toronto Tokyo. GPK is in with the damage. They need backup. They need it now. Toronto Tokyo, how to put the BKB to get out of here. Mira, he'll be the new focus as GPK turns over towards the Shaman to fall. The Spirit, they've got to run. Nightfall just charging at them here. Right up to the tier 3. Spirit being forced back up to the high ground of their base.
That's just really intelligent macro gameplay from VP. How they move their individual pieces around the map to force the TeamSpirit heroes into their base and then find a favorable fight. Now you're going to expect to see them just constantly chasing after them. They get the bottom tower, they know that there are no heroes from TeamSpirit bottom, so now expect them to start moving towards the top side.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
See what they can catch here next. See Spirit constantly numbing Poshka +1, normally Toronto Tokyo. Just trying to play their best out on the other side of the map, pushing those waves out.
Yep. You notice, VP, they're not leaving TeamSpirit's side.
No.
They're just making sure that TeamSpirit cannot get out of their base. They understand that maybe some heroes farming their side of the jungle, as you can see with the pings, but they're making sure that the important one, Terrorblade, he's stuck. He's not getting out.
Oh, they're in. Well, they want to at least Nightfall. Just jumping up to the high ground here. 20 seconds on that Aegis. Just went for the play to see if he could get something done before it expires. Won't be the case. Spirit playing extremely cautious right now.
Yeah, and we see a really intelligent ward placed deep in the VP jungle on the top side from Naposhka. So they're able to farm on Toronto Tokyo and him while they're being contained. This is really smart plays coming out from TeamSpirit.
Absolutely.
Doing everything they can while they're behind.
They've managed to sort of slow the bleeding here. Get things done. That's the power of the IO, and allowing Toronto Tokyo to play and farm in such positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're always ready to team fight in. You have that relocate to bring you back if needed. And they're getting good vision out. This is a really, really smart play from TeamSpirit. And I think VP recognized it, and that's why he saw all their heroes move into the top side of the jungle to try to take control back. And they find that ward. It's a huge D ward by Kingslayer. Game state's kind of slowed down, and it's just both teams, they're waiting for that right fight. They know that they can't be impatient and just run into the enemy team in a bad fashion where they will throw the fight away. Just making sure that, they're fighting in areas where the enemy team will not have wards.
Let's see to the mid here. Both teams opposite side of the lane, waiting for one another to show. Nightfall will step up. Finding under the tier 2. It's probably going to be too much of an ordeal here though for Spirit.
There are pings about smoke wraparounds, and here we go. VP smokes up.
Okay, they're gonna try.
So now here's the question: which angle is TeamSpirit not covering, and are they gonna find it?
The collapse is watching with the high ground. Toronto Tokyo's actually gonna blink in straight away into the river. Gets the stun on the other side. Collapses in with the ravages. Caught the 3 of them. It's gonna be Kingslayer going down. Immediate buyback. They'll tell Yatori BKB for the Fizz Grip. That will get cancelled for now. Mira taken out here. As they'll try and go for more GPKs onto collapse. Forcing the tide away. TP out. Safe. He's able to get in. Nightmare. Puts a stop to the TP. Collapse trying to hide in the
Blink.
trees. Oh, he's actually going to be able to make it out with a blink.
What
They're still trying to chase it, VP. They have seen him in the trees here with the Spirit out. Kingslayer will spot him out. GPK takes him down.
Bottom, Toronto Tokyo also taken out by Nightfall. Great read on the map, recognizing that he's there. So now Metamorphosis has been used, Ravage has been used. Virtus Pro's draft basically doesn't have any cooldowns, right? So once DM is back alive, they're most likely going to look to continue the hunt and make sure that you don't allow Team Spirit to farm. Because as long as Team Spirit are farming with these illusions and stuff, you notice the gold lead isn't really increasing. It's just staying at 8,000 gold. It's a battle of who can take over map control. And that's what these fights are really all about. It's not about the kills, it's about who gets map control in the end.
Obviously, it was a solid start with the Ravage, but Yutoro, he just couldn't get the damage out to start things off.
Yeah, they really need the Terrorblade to be outputting damage, and the Leshrac had blinked in and just immediately been forced to reset out, so there was really no good follow-up on the Ravage, but they get that fight with Terrorblade on top of the Ursa, or Leshrac on top of him, it's going to look very, very different. But what an amazing blink out from Collapse, right? Unfortunately, he gets found out in the end, but still a really cool play.
Still about 50 seconds until we get close to the next Roche potential for VP. Naposhka against the pressure will pick up a jab. Try and regain a bit of this map control against VP's pretty much complete hold. Making it very difficult indeed for Spirit to step out. We've seen it's really Naposhka +1 being able to play the opposite side of the map right now whilst the vision is as low as it is. They can't really get the rest of the team out.
Yeah, and again you see, once Roshan's starting to spawn, VP move their heroes towards the Roche pit, try to control out that triangle, and they set up their vision here, knowing that, you know what? If you want to fight us as Team Spirit, you're fighting under our wards, you're fighting under our conditions. And this is just exactly how you're supposed to play when you're playing from ahead. Roche is up, early spawn.
A DD rune as well outside of the pit. It's going to be a quick one.
Spirit though, they're smoked up. They're looking to take the fight. Terrorblade meta's up, Ravage is back up. And initiation's everything here.
They've got to get it so quick. With this DD, it's falling so fast. Spirit, they'll start things off with finding Save. Not a bad way to begin the action. Bane's gone. Save has the buyback if he wants to pop it. Toronto Tokyo has been caught out there by DM. PKB and Yules up into the air. Collapse. He's never going to get the Aegis. He gets the cheese as well. Collapse. Just walks in. Cheese. It's actually been left behind. He doesn't even want it. He starts to back away. Yutoro gets fully focused by Nightfall. I mean, Collapse may have got the Aegis, but they've lost their carry. They'll lose Collapse. They're almost certainly going to lose him again here off the respawn. But Blink. He's not making it away with that TP. Basher from Nightfall kicks in. He will go down. Cheese is still there, but he gets in. He takes the Aegis. Who got the Aghanims out of that?
I believe the Ursa got the Ag.
He did.
He did get the Ags, yes. But yeah, is she still in the pit?
Yeah, still in the pit. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be a TI with a game where, without a game where there's been something left inside there, and this time it's the cheese once again.
Yep, it has a tendency to be the cheese, right?
It does.
Cheese is the item that people leave behind the most. But a great opportunity now for VP to go high ground. There's no Ravage, and there's no meta. And could you ask for a more timely bash than the one that Nightfall got? Right as the TV wants to look for that Sunder opportunity, bash.
Yeah, Yutoro's just had such a hard time trying to get a fight going. It's just so much controlling him, even with the BKB. Bashes, grips. It's not an easy game for this Terrorblade to play whilst he's as behind as he is now. Now, 18k lead overall for VP. That was a very costly team fight loss for Spirit. They can't afford to lose another like that, otherwise this game's done for.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do notice VP do have some problems with their draft fight. They can't break that high ground. And you touched on it in the early game. There isn't really tower push here. So VP are going to need Team Spirit to come out of their base in order to be able to get this high ground push. So what you'll see VP do here is they're going to split up, try to farm up as many resources as they can, and Team Spirit, knowing that, at some point will feel like, okay, we're falling way too far behind, and force them to come out of the base. But not having Aegis basically bought them 10 minutes. They gave up a fight,
okay, but
they bought themselves about 10 minutes of like being contained in their base. So it's always something.
I mean, and honestly, I feel that comeback potential can absolutely be there. You know, Collapse on the Tide, I feel like we've seen so many times. If he can get that refresher, the double Ravage, that can make wonders happen in these team fights. Bottom though, outside of the base, Mira run down by DM. And Poshka was able to make it out with the tether TP. Good job he did go for the tether before TPing out. but now has left Toronto Tokyo on his own.
This is huge. I saw something really, really interesting. If you guys click the inventory of Kingslayer, he has 4 healing salves that he sent out. They're recognizing that, you know what, if we want to go high ground, it's going to be a slow push, and we're going to need resources to deal with a poke. So sends out 4 salves for his teammates. Great, great.
I mean, he's been digging them up as well.
Oh, that's true.
This man keeping the shovel out.
He's been keeping the shovel. That probably is how he got the salves. Makes a lot of sense, Owen. Thanks.
He's digging them up nicely. There's another one. 5 salves. He's finding all the heals, but as you say, definitely going to be able to put use to them if VP want to keep knocking at the door of Spirit. As slow and, you know, as it will be, it will take time. Maybe, you know, GPK is able to pick up the shard eventually. I'll give them a little bit extra to take those buildings down.
Yeah, absolutely. But you see, VP, they're not too concerned, right? They understand that right now TeamSpirit are not gaining any resources. We finally have what we wanted. For the last 37 minutes, this is what they've been fighting for. They've been trying to force TeamSpirit back into their base to allow them to just farm all the resources on the map and get as ahead as they can.
I mean, Nightfall's just absolutely massive. Nearly level 25. Has the full Satanic done. Ag Shard, he is ready to end this.
Yeah, I think the second Spirit steps out, they're going to pounce. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them happy just farming out until Roshan comes otherwise. VP's going to set their map up here with, like, I think Save is going to play close to whatever hero's playing aggressive on lanes. And then if he can find a grip on a target, that's when VP's going to really try to collapse. No pun intended.
Well, it is a lot about the Tide.
Yeah, he's eyeing up a refresher. He's about halfway there, but...
I mean, he's just had such a hard game. You know,
yeah,
1-7-1, they have completely shut Collapse down this game.
Yeah, he's been involved in 2 kills in 38 minutes. It's not a fun game to be the Tidehunter.
Yeah, especially when you say, you know, for Spirit, a lot of their game plan does revolve around Collapse being the main playmaker.
Yeah, I really think he's like their mid-game piece. And if you think about the story of this game, they didn't have a mid-game. Their mid-game was just running away from VP and trying not to give away kills.
Oh, look at that. Okay, yeah, okay, it's up to the 89. I was going to say, yeah, that 66 was earlier. So, yeah, up to 89% of the win probability. And also, Miposhka's out. Toronto Tokyo will take out Kingslayer. They get the Serpent Wards down as well. Mirror with the grab onto save. As both of VP supports goal. Can they get more? Ammunition Toro is in with the metamorphosis and the BKB. Jump for collapse. Has the Ravage. Nightfall. Knocked down. Some from the Toronto Tokyo. Nightfall getting low. Taken down. They get the answer. A big kill here for Spirit. What more can they find? Up to the high ground. They're trying to chase GPK. But GPK's got the backup. Kingslayer fighting back in action. But Yatoro. Sunder back up to full HP. Tries for the TP out. But the damage is done. Yatoro will fall. Spirit. They lose their carry at the end of it, but not a bad hit and punch into VP there as a fair bit of damage is done.
Yeah, and they take out the important heroes, right? There's no Ursa, so there's no high ground threat. They're buying themselves more time. These fights, they're going even, but when you go even when you're behind, that's actually favoring you because you're getting more gold from the fights, the enemy team is ahead, and you're also delaying for this late game timing. So if we click on Collapse, you know, slightly closer to your
progress.
refresher.
It is progress.
Absolutely. And look at his inventory. I think this is so cool. While he's dead, he's placed the Philosopher's Stone in his inventory. It's just all those small things add up, right? It's really, really cool to see this coming out from pro players. So while you're dead, put in the Philosopher's Stone, get that extra bit of gold.
I mean, because we already saw in that fight, despite as far down as they are, the potential when that Ravage does come into play and Yatoro is able to stand back and get the hits in.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can have the Terrorblade in the right position once the Ravage goes off, it's huge. Up top,
6 up. We've got the Hex in. DM trying to cover them from the side. He's ready to go over the Rolling Thunder. GPK with the BKB turns over to Toronto Tokyo. Toronto Tokyo buys some time with the self-fuels, but he's surely going down. He's forced aside. No, Essence Ring is still alive. Stunts intensive with the Hurricane Bite. Oh, he's alive! He's alive!
What a save!
They get him out! Toronto Tokyo will survive for now! Mirror goes down, but the Lesh will live to see another day here thanks to Miposhka.
What a crazy save, man. Oh, there's some really high-level Dota going on here, and it's beautiful to watch. I'm really, really enjoying this game. GPK's item build. I really did not see this playing out in the early game, right? We were talking about the Atos, but it's so smart. He has the AC, he has Scotty. He can tank them up.
He is. Yeah, 6-2-11. He's having a great time on the Viper here. We'll see this replay again. I mean, they make this what seems to be an ambitious attempt on GPK. It doesn't end up being that bad of a try at all. And just look how low Toronto Tokyo gets. Miposhka able to switch targets here. And yeah, just get him out at the final possible moments, it seems.
Oh my god.
Literally the last,
Literally
less than a
moment.
second on the relocate back out. Miposhka.
What a play.
What a move.
There's so many crazy high-level plays going on, man. Every spellcaster, from the Hex on the Viper, you know, the Pango sitting behind the Viper in case he gets caught. It's just both teams are playing so well. It's a very enjoyable game to watch. And now we have tier 4 items coming out.
Oh, Timeless Relic. That's a tasty one.
Is he keeping the Essence Ring?
That Essence Ring might be a bit of a good luck charm. It did save him that last fight. He might want to hold on to it.
I think it might have been a misclick. Surely it must have been a misclick.
Yeah, he's got it back out. He
there
does.
we go. I think he probably a little bit too quick. I know this has happened to me sometimes.
Sure.
Try to drag it in, send it back too
I mean,
fast.
he's a team player. You know, he picks up a nice item. He wants to make sure that everybody else gets a chance to grab it. But indeed, Timeless Relic back out on Toronto Tokyo, and that, yeah, quite the item, of course, for the Leshrac.
Yeah, absolutely. They also got a telescope. They haven't decided who to put it on yet, but great item. Adds attack range to your Terrorblade, gives you cast range on all your heroes. For a hero like Shadow Shaman, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him trade off the Psychic Headband for the telescope, but it seems like, you know, that's not the focus right now. They're not thinking about neutral items. They just gave away a Roshan.
They did. They're able to pick it all up here. And that's what it's the fourth one this game, right? Refresher Shard, Ag's Blessing both coming out of that one.
Yeah.
See, Ursa well managed to get the Enrage off, but now the meta's up. Yasura wants to try and fight this. The BKB shortly coming to an end for Toronto Tokyo, though. He's got to start running Miposhka. He's ready to take him out again. We'll bail him out as they manage to back off there from VP, trying to run him down. And of course, off that return to the pit as well, they do now have the 2 cheeses on VP. DM's got his Kingslayer as well.
That could be huge for Kingslayer. When you're playing Elder Titan this late into the game, your biggest problem is getting on top of the Terrorblade for long enough for your natural order to deal the damage that he can, right? If they can combine, as it looks, I hear sleep. That's just an illusions. Yeah, if they can get that natural order on top of the Terrorblade and then have the Ursa hit during that period of time, that's like if Cheese gives them 2 seconds, that's enough. That's all they will need for the natural order to deal its damage.
Yeah. And that last, the pickup, the Ag's Blessing, going to save as well, as you were talking about, very strong Ags. So this is going to be an excellent addition to VP's team fight here, especially with the way that Save has already been able to make those big ults happen. And, you know, Yatoro's life getting harder. He's got to keep himself completely away from this Bane, otherwise Save will look to lock him down.
Yep.
Trying to jump, but alright, GPK, he's gone in as well. Slides himself back down to the low ground with a Hurricane Pike, mirrors out. DM diving under the tier 4s with the Rolling Thunder. There's the grip. Save has the control onto Yatoro. Yatoro needs help. He needs it now. He's not going to get it. The splitter comes out. Kingslayer takes down Yatoro. No buyback on the Terrorblade. He hasn't got the dollar.
It's huge opening. Just beautiful. You see how fearless they are. Immediately they see Mira out of position. Go. Entire team commits to it.
Collapse. Trying to draw their attention away from the base.
He does have a buyback, so they're just trying to buy time for the Terrorblade to spawn, but I don't know, Owen. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, just so much money on GPK. GPK just rolling around with 7,500 in the bank.
Yeah.
So much money. They're going to look to try and end.
I think they recognize it, you know, the way the Tyrantro was playing, that's just not normal. If you have buyback on TV, that's not the kind of play you're going to make. And VP can read that off of the movement, and they recognize there's no buy.
What can they do without their Terrorblade? 30 seconds. The towers taken out here. Top 4. Nightfall is in onto Toronto Tokyo. Goes set to Toronto Tokyo. And live for now. Nightfall is low. They'll turn over towards Mirror, but again, just dropping these wards down. Everything they can possibly do to take VP's attention off the base.
15 seconds.
GPK committing with the BKB, but Collapse is able to slide back to the fountain.
There is a refresher shard on the Viper though, so he will have that BKB back up.
10 seconds until the Terrorblade, but VP, they're looking to end it. Refresher shard in the second round of the BKB, they've got the grab, but the damage comes in for Collapse. It doesn't matter with the BKBs. VP can focus the Ancient and end the game. As Game 2 versus Pro will manage to keep the series even. 1-1 now between VP and Spirit. We're getting a Game 3, Aiden.
And this was just a masterclass from VP, how to play from ahead. What do you do when you have the right heroes like